Let my addiction crush you, and your silence is the way we maintain peace. That version of me would have been like, okay, good riddance. Are you bringing this up just to rub my face in it? See, look, I'm doing this little thing to fix it. We can move on now. It is not something that you just deserve because you've broken it. You've lied and lied and lied. What I wanted you to just get over was, okay, I said I quit. Why are we still talking about this? I stopped using, so let's not get into all the ugly details.
I would have loved it for you just to pull off the mask and go, okay, Lori, look, this is just a tactic.
Welcome to The Couple Cure. Here's Jay and Lori Pyatt.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. And today's question for Jay is, when you first got honest, what did you expect me to just get over?
I think the big mistake that a lot of addicts make right off the bat is I stopped using, so let's not keep talking about this. Let's not get into all the ugly details. You know, what I wanted you to just get over was, okay, I said I quit. Why are we still talking about this? I know definitely between you and I, it was like, well, can we just get over the fact that, yeah, you caught me, I did something stupid, I said I'm sorry, I said I've quit, now let's just move on.
And I want to be clear, he was never like, well, I said I was sorry and I quit. But I did kind of get from you that, like you had said, you know, I said I quit. Well, he had said that before, you know, multiple times when he hadn't quit. So hence the deeper questioning on my end. Wanting to go deeper this time. Second question, how quickly did that mindset kick in for you?
The mindset of just get over it?
Yeah.
Pretty quick. I didn't want to talk about it any more than, you know, all the misery of getting it out in the open for you and, you know, all that went on there. And so I was ready to come up with a few new like boundaries or new rules or whatever and be done, you know.
And I can remember back, especially early on for the first few D days, it was like, well, okay, I'll start going to the men's group. And that, you know, for me was good because that's kind of all that was that existed back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have said pretty quickly because immediately you just resist all forms of talking about it.
Yeah, and I interpreted us talking about it as not you needing information and reassurance and processing the trauma and all of the things that we know now. I know we've talked about this, was me saying, are you bringing this up just to rub my face in it?
Right.
And from the addict's own shame conversation, his own conversation of, I already feel crappy enough about this, why do we have to keep going? I would say with 99% certainty that most of that desire for more information is about giving her something to heal, something to work with, something to understand, more than just making you, you know, look at what you did and look how terrible you are. That's a big part of the healing, is to continue talking about it, not just to say, oh, okay, you caught me and we're not going to talk about it again.
I tell my clients, talk about it like the brakes are out or we need new tires. There's an issue that needs to be addressed. Like, just make it a thing, make it a fact that you talk about in your conversations, in your maybe not daily lives, but it probably needs to be addressed weekly, especially early on. For the addicts, understand this. She's not trying to rub your face in it. It's not like, oh, you did this wrong. It's, I need to understand that you know how much this hurt me, because if you understand that, you might be less apt to do it in the first place. She's probably saying, like, I need to know the details of how far this went. Number one, I need to know the truth. I need to know who I'm married to and what you're okay with doing. And I need to know that you know this is destroying me. Maybe don't do that again, you know, or please don't do that again.
I like what you had to say about making it a thing, that my brakes are out. You've brought something critical for your safety, for your sense of peace, for your sense of self-care. You've brought that to me, and I'm like, well, yeah, I know it's a problem. So we're just, you know, yeah. And you're like, but what have you done about it? Have you taken it to the shop? Have you gone out and worked on the car? Have you driven the car to see how bad it is? And so for something that is that critical to your safety, if I'm kind of brushing it off and saying, well, just don't stop as hard or don't drive as fast or whatever kind of equal mentality that I'm giving it, for you, like, I am not driving a car where I don't like how the brakes work, where I don't like how badly worn my tires are, and you're not listening. And I need to talk about it. And we're going to talk about it until I'm sure that it's fixed and that I can count on it and that it's going to stay fixed. And it's not because of anything other than you want to know that I'm paying attention to it.
Right.
So.
Especially if the guy has given things he's going to do. Like, I know this is a problem. I want to get better too. And these are the things I'm going to do. Okay. Have you taken it to the shop? Have you rotated the tires? Have you changed the brakes out? Have you gone to counseling? Have you installed that software? Have
gotten a
you
new phone, whatever.
gotten a dumb phone, that sort of thing? Guys, if you are giving her things that you know you need to do and then later backtrack on them, don't be surprised that she's going to bring it up again, because it's another time where you're dismissing her feelings, and another time where you have said you're going to do one thing and you do another.
Right.
It's another broken promise, another broken word.
Yeah, it's another tactic as well. It's I'll get help. Yeah, I'll go to a meeting. Yeah, I'll do this. And if you're not doing it, you're not following through. You're the same guy who was lying before you got caught. So
yeah. Okay, next question. Did you pressure me even silently to move on faster? Or maybe not so silently.
Oh, yeah, I think the defensiveness was definitely my anger, my intimidation, the abusive behavior of using anger to change the conversation was part of that, of, I don't want to talk about this anymore. We're done, right? And yelling at you about it, or breaking something, or slamming my fist on the counter to say, I'm done with this conversation.
Right.
So yes, I pressured you in that way, or I think I gave you enough detail about things that I was doing to fix it, that it was kind of, see, look, I'm doing this little thing to fix it, so we can move on now, right?
Yeah. In fact, I remember him saying, like, I'm going to men's group after the first or second D-Day.
Right.
So.
And I think I've said this in a previous episode, but for Lori to feel safe, there were a number of things that we tried that didn't necessarily give her that sense of safety, where I was just like, well, I did this thing, so why don't you feel safe? And she's like, I don't. And in some cases, what you're going to run into is trying to invent the light bulb. Edison was quoted as saying, we now know there's 1,000 things that don't make a light bulb. And so we now know there's X many things we've done that don't make you feel safe. So what's the next thing we're going to try? What's the next, whether that's a polygraph, or going on an intensive, or
getting rid of your phone.
Yeah, changing your phone, or getting software, whatever it might be. Those are all things that are experimentally trying to find, does she feel safe? And the answer is she's kind of hoping that'll make her feel safe, and you're hoping it'll make her feel safe. But in time, you'll find those things that actually do work. But don't get caught up in like, well, I already did this thing, so why don't you feel safe? That's normal.
Typically, if you've already tried it, it might be because you're not working that program or that software or whatever. If you really want to build trust, ask her what's going to make her feel safe. And she's probably going to be like, okay, quit doing all that other stuff. Do this, and this. We'll refine it as needed, but like, let's just start there.
Right.
because she knows what is going to make her feel safe.
Yeah. The other tactic that I fell into that I tended to use was, well, this thing's easy for me and it's not asking a lot of me. And I feel comfortable doing that as opposed to giving you what you really want. And again, that's a way of saying, I don't really care what the conditions are of the brakes in your car or the condition of your heart. I just want to do what's easy for me.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be challenging. You may have to do something that feels wildly uncomfortable. And when you do it, eventually what you'll find out was it wasn't that hard, but it's that resistance. It's that
resistance.
I've got to get what I want in me that I had to deal with.
Yeah, typically you'll see that it's not the thing that's hard, it's the resistance that makes it hard.
Right.
Number 4, what surprised you most about how long healing really takes?
I had to do a lot more work than what I was doing because I'm going to say the word proactive. Don't get
We've had a lot of
the first therapist we went to said to me, Jay, you need to be proactive. And Lori said, Jay, you need to be proactive. And I'm like, what does that mean? And they both looked at me like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And we went down this path. I don't want to say 2 years, but it almost feels like it took 2 years for me to get it. Lori's ready to hit me with the clipboard.
No, you were right.
Yeah.
It took about 2 years or more.
So the thing that I was not clear on was not the definition of the word proactive, but what did proactivity mean when I was like living that out? What did it mean to live out proactivity between you and I? And so then, in that healing process, that's where the work came in, was for me to be proactively telling the truth, proactively engaging with you and saying, oh, this happened today or this happened today. So I think one of the things that delayed healing was me not, getting greater clarity of not just the definition of the word, but what the word looks lived out, what that thing you need from me looks like lived out. For the women, I know in your head, and that other people know what it means, because my therapist knew what it meant and Lori knew what it meant. But I was like, I know what the word means. I don't know what that looks like. I've never done whatever it is that you've asked me to do.
Interesting.
So to have that expectation, and if your husband or boyfriend or whoever comes back to you and says, tell me what that means. And I know a part of you in your head is going to say, but if I tell you, then you're only doing it because I told you so. And the answer to that is yes, exactly. Sometimes you need to tell him exactly what it is you need him to do, because naturally in my brain, none of that stuff came up.
But not forever.
Right.
So guys, if you're listening and you're like, I don't know what proactivity means, what it looks like in this context is you take something to write on, whether it's a conversation with her or if you're seeing a therapist or going to somebody in the helping community that is giving you instruction, you write that stuff down, you put a big star by it to know, okay, when I get home, I am going to start doing that stuff on my own. I've been told what she needs. I've been told what most wives need after betrayal. I'm going to start doing that on my own. Right. And if you need to tweak it, if she's like, oh, okay, that kind of did it, but not really, okay, what would make it better?
Right.
And then you're being proactive on really finding a solution.
Yeah.
Number 5, how did learning about betrayal trauma change your expectation, and how quickly did it change your expectations? Like, what shifted in your mindset when you realized I wasn't being stubborn or I wasn't shoving it in your face, I was actually in trauma?
Right. The thing that I found helpful to put it in this context was the idea of a soldier who's been in combat, the soldier who comes home to the United States and sees something in the road and drives their car into the ditch. You could tell that person all day long, you're safe. And they're like, no, I've had this experience. I don't feel safe when I see something in the road while I'm driving, so I'm going to try to avoid it because I lost friends or people were injured around me or whatever might have happened. They are no longer in the environment that created that sense of unsafe environment for them. She's still sleeping with the enemy. She's still sleeping right next to me, the guy that did all of the stupid, crazy things that I did, harmful things that I did. She has not left that environment. She hasn't gotten to a home country where none of those bad things are going to happen again. And so for me, when I could put it in that context of like, it's somebody trying to tell person that's still in an unsafe environment, no, really, you're safe this time. No, really, you're safe this time. And so that context really helped me to understand better, like what was going on for her.
I know for a long time it was like, oh, you're saying I'm safe in this context of you and your hidden life and your lies, and then another explosion from him. And it's like, okay, yeah, I'm still in the war.
Yeah.
Number 6, what did you need to unlearn about healing timelines to really show up for me?
You're going to get there faster the more I start the conversation. The more I begin doing those things. We talked about this in our video series, The Basics of Rebuilding Trust, that I can help you get there faster by, by being proactively honest. Instead of making you guess what's going on in my world, I'm telling you what's going on in my world.
Recovery was another big thing too. You updating me on kind of how your recovery was going, what new things you were learning.
Right.
Also, how God was impacting him emotionally was a big thing as well, a big help.
That I could be a part of that timeline. I could be a part of your healing process. And it wasn't something that you had to do on your own, but you needed information from me. And the less information I gave you, the slower things went. And the more information I gave you, the faster things seemed to go.
Yeah. Something I had to learn because we weren't seeing a betrayal trauma specialist. I would sit there and beat myself up like, it's been 3 years. It's been 4.5 years. Why aren't we better yet? Marriage therapists will tell you that for most major breakdowns, it takes about 5 years of marriage therapy to help you get past it. So that would have helped me not feel so weak or whatever it was I was thinking, like I was so slow to heal. But I would also say to the guys, if it feels like she's zigzagging in her healing, check to see if you're zigzagging. Check to see if you're giving promises and then not following through. Or if you do follow through, but like Jay, for a long time, he would follow through for about 2 or 3 months and then not. And then it became like 2 weeks and then 2 days and then like 2 minutes. So if it feels like she's doing well and then she's going back, have you gone back on something you've told her you would do that was actually working for a time?
Right.
Okay, number 7, what advice would you give to men who are frustrated with that their wives aren't over it yet?
One of the reasons why we struggle with certain types of Christian counseling is some Christian counselors, you'll walk in the door and they'll say, you need to forgive to the wife. And the man has not done a single thing to repair the situation. And if you look biblically, it says, when you go to the altar and you realize your brother has something against you, she has something against you, you screwed up and there's something wrong between the two of you. First go and make it right and then come to the altar. Have you made it right? If you want a depth of relationship with her, you're going to have to rebuild trust. It is not something that you automatically get. It is not something that you just deserve because you've broken it. You've lied and lied and lied like I did. And maybe you didn't outright lie in the way I did, but you kept things hidden. You kept a big part of who you were outside of the room. And she's like, I have no idea who you were. I have no idea who I'm married to. I have no idea how many different things have gone wrong that I'm clueless about. And so you have to help her rebuild all of that.
Before we get to our last question, for the wives out there, did anyone ever tell you to just get over it, and how did it land? I can tell you the times I was never really told that, and I'm not even thinking from Jay, because when he would get all riled and big, I was just like, okay, you want to throw down? I can take care of myself verbally in a confrontation. when I got that from other people, though, like especially pastors or pastors' wives and stuff, I was just like, no, that's there has to be another way. This is just destroying marriages to the same degree that it's destroying marriages outside the church. So there has to be another way.
Right.
But I want to know how it impacted you. So again, the question is, if anyone ever told you to just get over it, how did it land in you? The last question for Jay is, if you could go back to the beginning with me, what's one thing you would tell me about the pace of healing?
The beginning after D-Day, or like the very
I
first?
would say the first one.
Okay.
Like knowing what you know now.
Yeah, knowing what I know now, the healing would happen faster if I had given you more details. If I had just let go of my image, let go of trying to, get you to see me a certain way, which we've talked about already this season of, I need you to see me as a good guy and so on. That the more I could do that, the more we would be having an honest conversation, and that would give you the tools to heal. The more I stepped into that, the more I could actually speak to and be part of that healing process. If you had left pretty much right away, probably that version of me would have been like, okay, good riddance. Because
Really?
having been divorced once already, I don't know that I would have really seen she's not leaving to leave, she's leaving to stay safe. And so I think that would have led to healing faster, as far as I wouldn't have injured you as much. I think we would have been having a much more clear conversation about impact and so on if that had happened earlier on.
I just get this image where, you're sitting there, no, I didn't, or whatever, banging your head on the bed. I would have loved it for you just to pull off the mask and go, okay, Lori, look, this is just a tactic. This is what I do in order to keep from like having to face, looking bad or whatever. I'm also going to do this, this, and this, and this. And I understand this, this is none of this is your fault. What you need to expect from me is proactivity and being able to have conversations about this and going for help. And if that help doesn't work, then I need to come up with, here's my phone. This is a trigger for me. Let's replace it with a dumb phone. Okay, so you got that. And then, put his head on, his skin back on, and went back to screaming. But that would have been really helpful.
Right. And that was because I didn't have the words, I didn't have the tools. The anger was the way. That was the only thing I felt like I could do to protect all of my weak points. And so I would say that's the tactic too, that it's not safe. If he is that angry, you can leave to get safe. Do not stay for abuse. But also understand that anger is a smokescreen.
Yeah.
You're getting too close to the things in me that feel weak, so I'm going to get big and I'm going to get angry so that you stop poking at all those things.
So on that last question, you would basically say, you would have told me it's kind of up to you. Is that what you were?
What do you mean?
Like that you would have told me, Lori, it's up to me to make this right. It's.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. On the topic of marriage, the idea of like somehow having more sex or just being forgiving or whatever it is to placate him, there's some degree of peace that's coming at the cost of your silence. Okay, you just need to like let life crush you, let my addiction crush you, and your silence is the way we maintain peace.
Yeah.
And that's insane. It is up to me and your silence to maintain some degree of, peace or to save the marriage or any of those kind of things I don't think that's biblical. I don't think that's healthy.
And he's not sitting there saying, if you're quiet about it, I mean, like I was quiet about it for a long time just because he would blow up. I did try bringing it to him. But what he's saying is the tactics that the guy uses to get back to status quo, meaning we're not talking about this. We're going along like nothing ever happened.
Right.
Is what he's saying isn't biblical.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have for this time. And if you could hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so, that would be very helpful. It's the cheapest, easiest thing you can do to help us. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I have 6 minutes until my alarm goes off.
Okay. Thank you for doing this. I know you might have wanted to eat, but you'll just have to go there growling.
I don't care.
Do they have cookies? Okay.